Hello, everybody. Welcome to Talk About Houses. I'm Todd.
I'm Juana.
Juana has her fancy gown on today that you wore that. Did you wear that to the office today or no?
I did. I wore it to the office
Wow. This must be a fancy place you work.
today.
Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about home builder sentiment because there was a dramatic turnaround. It was supposed to be down this month. They have these predictors that they run. It's the National Home Builders Association and the Wells Fargo Index.
Okay.
And they predict it, and then a month later they go measure it. So here's the, and we'll go through, we have a bunch of slides, and we'll talk about this and how this.
Is this like the roulette wheel where you pick a number and then you roll the ball and it goes in the wrong spot?
Yeah, it's kind of
Okay.
like that. And there's been a lot of that happening, right, in a lot of different parts of housing. But this is an important key because we keep hearing all the reasons why housing's like a terrible investment and everyone should sell all their houses. And we hear mortgage rates are going up. And then 6 weeks ago, we heard mortgage rates are going up and it's going to choke off demand and inventory is going to go up. And one is for 6 weeks, interest rates are higher than they were 6 weeks ago. But then inventory, at least in Vegas, most of the country actually, is down every week. It keeps going down.
Right.
And that's instant. That wouldn't take, there's no lag time.
No.
If interest rates go up, why would that immediately choke off demand?
Well, interest rates going up doesn't choke off demand because everybody has to live somewhere and buyers are accustomed to dealing with whatever the rates are.
Right.
But the issue is that inventory is low. And the reason inventory is low is because sellers don't want to put their houses on the market because they don't have anywhere to go because there is no inventory. And the other reason inventory is low is because builders have been very shy about building because they've been concerned because of interest rates that they may not be able to move their product as quickly as they would like, and that costs them money, and particularly in a high interest rate environment, that's untenable for them.
Okay. The other thing we heard was it was the wave of foreclosures that were getting ready to happen. We just did the foreclosure video yesterday.
Right. So, the foreclosures, while there are foreclosures, but there are foreclosures in every market, there is not an inordinate amount of foreclosures. We have record low foreclosures. There is no foreseeable spike in foreclosures. Now, having said that, we've just been through that black swan event of the banks having difficulties. So, of course, black swan events can happen and that can change. But right now, based on the numbers that we're seeing, we're not going to see a substantial amount of foreclosures. And that means that we're not going to see a substantial amount of homes come on the market due to foreclosures.
Okay. The third leg we heard was, okay, it'll be all the new home builders and they'll be dumping inventory, panic selling, and that'll crash the market. So
they're not doing that.
Okay.
New home builders, first of all, as far as their standing inventory is concerned, that's already in the MLS, and they're selling them. That's not really a big issue for them. As far as homes that they have not broken ground on, they are not breaking ground on a whole lot of spec homes. What they're doing is they are selling the homes before they break ground. And even before they break ground, once they get a contract, they will wait until that buyer has an approved loan to break ground.
Okay, so as you all saw the headline, the home builder sentiment unexpectedly rose for a third month. It was up 2 points. Now, this is an index between 0 and 100. It rose substantially last month. We did a video on this. It was a huge jump. It was the largest jump in home builder sentiment in over a decade. So the largest jump in home builder sentiment was last month. It was driven by current sales and prospective buyer traffic.
Right.
Okay, so those were the two things. Those are two of the things they look at. They look at how many sales they're making now, and they look at how many people are walking through.
Right. And then remember, home builders, bless their hearts, they tend to be late to the party. So when their sentiment is up, that means that the market has had enough demand for some time for them to go ahead and acknowledge that, gee, this might be a good time for us to build some homes.
Right. Specifically, confidence amongst U.S. home builders rose slightly in March. The third straight month, builders have increased their optimism about the U.S. housing market. New home builders are critical to the housing market overall because, and we already know this from a video we did, we're short 6.5 million housing units in the U.S. The problem is we have households being formed, but every year for the last decade, 11 years now, the new home builders have built under that amount. So we're with the 6.5 million home shortage is getting worse because the new home builders aren't building enough to satisfy the demand. They're just, they're playing this extremely conservative game, and then they have constraints. So why are they conservative? And then why do they have constraints?
Right. So they're conservative because they maybe they learned their lesson a little too well during the housing crash, a dozen years ago. So that's why they're conservative. And then, of course, remember, not all the new home builders survived, and then those that did not necessarily survive in this incarnation. So a lot of them got hurt, and those that are still in business want to remain in business. So they're very cautious.
Okay. The National Association of Home Builders, Wells Fargo gauge builder sentiment increased 2 points to 44. It was 42 last month, but the expectation was going to be 40. Now, this surprised a lot of people.
The numbers always surprise a lot of people.
Okay. There's uncertainty now, and there's volatility, and there's a lot of stuff happening today that people wouldn't have expected a year ago, certainly even a couple months ago wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, the smart people sometimes underestimate the resilience of consumers and the adaptability of consumers, and I think I think they don't realize how quickly we adjust. And consumers, have absolutely adjusted quickly to the current interest rates, to the whole environment, and it's springtime. They're here to buy homes, and there really are not a lot of homes from which to choose.
I met some clients with an agent. They were absolutely unfazed by whatever the rates were. Their thing was they don't care. They just want to find the right house. Interest rates will go down in the future, and they'll just refi. All they're doing is acquiring a property. They don't want to wait a year or two for rates to go down because they're afraid, A, there won't be enough inventory, or B, there'll be more competition and the home prices will be more. They're just trying to lock in today's their expectation is today's lower price. And this is random people's opinion. These are not people who spend all their life watching market crash videos or people who like us who think that the market it's certainly not perfect, but it's certainly not that bad, right? No. They just have these opinions based on their and these are first time home buyers too. That's the first time they'll own a home.
Right. These are first time home buyers, but these are educated people who understand that they have to live somewhere and they will be making a mortgage payment, whether it's their own or their landlord's, but they will be paying. So they may as well pay toward their own home. They may as well start building some equity. And, there's no time like the present. Okay.
We're going to put this slide up. This shows the last 3 years of the housing market home builder sentiment index. And there's this little dashed line at 50. What is the chart goes from 0 to 100. What's 50?
50 is kind of the baseline. It's what a healthy market is.
Okay. So 50 is basically if you took the long term, if you look back as far as they've been measuring this, and it goes way back beyond this, because for sure they were measuring this 15 years ago because we have data going back that far that we talked about. But you can see how close we are to home builders thinking, now this doesn't mean how much they're building. This is their sentiment. So this sort of they like to see it a few months of good, strong sentiment before they decide to open new subdivisions, start trying to write contracts, start trying to line up people and resources and money to start building new homes, right? Because they don't want to get caught.
They don't, but I think that they're being very short-sighted, honestly, because certainly here in Southern Nevada, but I think all over the country, there are lots of new households being formed. We have lots of young adults who are forming new households, and these households need their own home. The other thing is that we do have an aging home stock inventory that needs to be replaced. So there are a lot of things going on that make us require more homes, and I think that home builders need to look more closely at that, and maybe they need to adjust the product to meet that demand. But the idea that they are going to not produce sufficient product seems like they're just cutting their nose off to spite their faces.
There was an interesting statistic you found about the number of current renters who have an income over $150,000.
Right. So if you're looking at Las Vegas, the Las Vegas area, we've got roughly about 30,000 people that make $150,000 a year or more.
Okay.
And they are tenants. Now, okay, so we're looking at about 30,000 people that make $150,000 or more, and they are tenants. And if you're looking at Nevada, Nevada's home ownership is about 60%.
Okay.
So let's say, okay, so we're going to take 12,000 people off the table. We're going to have 18,000 left, which is about 60%, right? And so now we're looking at 18,000 people that are making $150,000 or more, and they are tenants. Now, that's a good bit of money. These are people who can afford $1 million homes.
Yeah.
And they are tenants. So, and this is not even touching the people who are making between $100,000 and $149,000 and change, right?
Which is more than 30,000 people. There's probably 60,000 people in there.
So even, so then if you count 60% of those, then we're like another 36,000 people. So when you add those numbers together, now, we're talking about like, 50, 60,000 people between the two groups. So that's a lot of people that are tenants that don't need to be tenants. So they're renting homes that maybe they're paying $2,500, $3,000, $3,500, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 a month, whatever that they're paying on them. And so these are people who could be homeowners. Now, not all of them maybe aspire to homeownership. Maybe they're here short term. Maybe that's just not in the cards for them for whatever reason. But a good number of them would be homeowners, perhaps if they found the right product, right?
Okay.
If they found the right house. And money is not really the thing that is keeping them back. I think to a large extent what's keeping them back is the limited inventory, the limited selection.
One of the interesting things, so I read the whole article about the home builder sentiment. This really struck me. There are some people sort of anecdotally talking about the builder down the street who dropped a bunch of prices and how that's crashing the market. Well, that has nothing to do with the resale market. That's to do with the builder's bottom line. That doesn't necessarily affect the, if they just because they opened up their price at $900,000 and sold it for $750 doesn't mean they lost $150. If you list your house for $900,000 and you sell it for $750, you didn't lose $100. You can't go and say I lost $150,000 on the sale of my house.
Okay, and the other thing to keep in mind with builders, okay, because this is something that we do need to talk about. So builders, so let's say to your point that maybe they were selling the house for $900,000, now they're selling the house for $800,000. Okay, but did they have a $250,000 lot premium? Okay, because this is a lot more nebulous, right? So when you're looking at builder pricing is a whole lot more than the house and the lot. It is also that lot premium, which is this touchy-feely thing that, well, what are you willing to pay for that view? I don't know. I mean, we'll push you to $250. See how you do.
And lot premiums are subjective junk fees.
Exactly.
That was not a builder. The builder didn't pay $250,000 for that lot.
No.
That's what they're charging for the lot.
So remember.
So when they say we're charging $250 for this lot because the subdivision below you is all one stories and you have this view of the city, and then they end up dropping the price of the house by $100,000. They're not dropping the price of what they built. They're dropping this $250,000 junk fee to $150.
Right. So remember, that house that has that view costs the same amount of money to build as the house right across the street that doesn't have that view, right?
Right.
So it's not like the builder's taking this loss or anything like that. So this is a very touchy-feely thing. It's a very emotional thing. And so while I appreciate that the builder's not making as much profit, and I do feel for them, do understand that this is not a decrease in exactly in the value of the house. This is a decrease in this premium, because that's what it is. It's a lot premium.
Yep.
That they were able to charge the buyer, and now maybe they're figuring that maybe they can't charge $250 for that lot. Maybe they'll charge maybe only $150, and that'll make the deal go. So with builders, it's a lot more complicated than it is with resale. Resale, it is what it is, kind of thing, right?
Yep.
But with builders, there's more to it. One
of the interesting things from the article is they looked at all the home sales over the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. Only 37% of them had a price decrease. Mm-hmm. Another about 20%, the builder gave contribution mm-hmm. for rate buy downs to mm-hmm. buy down rates. But basically about 50%, a little under 50% of these, whatever the rate was and whatever the price was, that's what they went at.
Right.
So this belief that they're, that's a problem with anecdotal data. Sometimes it's interesting, but sometimes it's absolutely meaningless. But mm-hmm. All the builders are dumping their price. They're absolutely not doing that. And we did a video at the beginning of the year. We talked about KB Home, who's the mm-hmm. largest builder. Mm-hmm. And they only sell 13,000 homes a year in the whole country. Mm-hmm. And they're the largest, right? And they made a ton of money. They made a killing. They mm-hmm. made a huge profit. Even with all the, high interest rates and, buyers backing out. They had a lot of canceled contracts in like the third and fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. But then someone cancels the contract, but then somebody else steps in and buys it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So look, we understand that there is a lot of information out there, and we're not here to dispute that information. We're here to provide you with facts and figures and our understanding of these facts and figures and share that with you. So please
Yes? We're not saying now's a good time to... We keep getting accused of this. Why are you saying it? We've literally never said now's a good time to buy. The only 2 times we've ever said we're a good time to buy was last spring. We said October, November, December, January would be better months to buy because there would be more inventory. And we've said for a long time, anytime 2020 and before that would have been a good time to buy. Okay. We've never in a video said now's a good time to buy. We also aren't saying prices will go up, 6-8 months from now. We've never said prices are going to go up. Matter of fact, we even said last spring they would adjust, they would moderate, they would drop mm-hmm. Because all these things were happening. They certainly wouldn't keep going up. Our prediction this year basically is the same thing. They're going to moderate. They're probably going to drop a bit in the fall. They're going up right now. Mm-hmm. We're seeing that they're starting to tick up again, especially condos. Home prices will go up throughout the spring, drop through the summer and the fall, more likely. A year from now, who knows what they're going to do? Most likely, if there's no inventory, they're going to go up. We've never said now's a good time to buy. We've never said any of that. All we're doing is giving analysis to what's happening and why it's happening.
Right. And historically, real estate over time does well. And that's part of the reason why we are huge fans of real estate. The other reason is because, like I like to say, everybody has to live somewhere, and it's nice when it's your own home and you're in control of your home.
Here's the great thing about real estate. If you buy a rental house,
yes,
and it gives a long time ago, mm-hmm. a decade ago, you could get we were getting homes for investors over 10% cap rate. Mm-hmm. They were getting a 10% plus return per year. You can buy a house 6-7%, which is sort of the going rate for a cap rate right now. Mm-hmm. You can lose 5%. The house can depreciate 5% every single year. Like it lose 5% value forever. You still make money.
Right, because your cap rate's more than
because
that.
You're getting rent. You're collecting rent that covers it.
Right. So, thank you for watching the video. We appreciate it. Please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share the video, leave us a love note, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.